Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be comparing two really premium belts. They are priced at $55 US each, which is around $80 Australian. We'll put them to the test and see which one I like better. So what exactly am I looking for in a belt? Well, first of all, I find it less useful when I see a video that talks about one belt and they just talk about the name of the material, like S-Lab and whatever. But I'd rather know how it differs practically compared to other belts that are a similar price point, which is why I want to compare these two belts and put them to the test. My theory is that they're both going to be pretty good, but it's going to depend on a few factors. I think I won't end up having a favorite one, but I'll tell you what I would use each belt for and the different scenarios that they might be handy in. Also, 69% of you are not subscribed, so make sure you join the before 10k club. You don't want to miss out. There are 4 compartments in the Salomon S-Lab belt compared to the Naked Band, which has 3 compartments. To give you a little insight on the compartments of the Salomon belt, there is one where there is a zip to stash your important items that you don't want to drop throughout the run. But that being said, I've never have seen something fall out of the Naked Band, so this stores pretty securely as well. But if you want that extra level of security, it's nice to have that zip at the front. Now moving on to the side, we have 2 small pockets on the right and the left side. We can fit like 1 action camera, so this is roughly the same size as a GoPro. This is an Insta360 Ace Pro. This fits perfectly into that small pocket, but it can hold other stuff like your AirPod case, your keys, and that sort of like small items. I like to put all that in a Ziploc bag so that if I drop it, it's more obvious that something huge fell out of it. Moving on to the back side, we have another large pocket. You can fit your 500ml flash, phone, but your phone can fit at the front as well. But when I run with this belt, I never carry water bottles or soft flash, and therefore I usually put the phone here, and then I sometimes even leave the non-zipper pocket, which is this one, at the front side, and I make this the back side. And I can always like switch things around mid-run because it's not hard to like rotate the belt while you're running. In that sense, it's quite versatile, and depending on your preference, you can have that as the front or this as the front. The compartments of the Naked belt are more simple. There's only 3 identical pockets that are again the same exact size. We have 2 of the pockets facing more frontwards with the race bib holder right here. That's how you can tell it's the front. And then at the back, we have the horizontal, which sits like flush with your back, like your flat back. So that does mean the front 2 pockets, even though they're the same size as the back pocket, it feels like it's coming more like diagonally because it sits kind of like that, whereas the back pocket just sits flat on your back, if that makes sense. And that's why I like to stash longer items at the back, because it just sits flat on the back, whereas the front one seems to be like curving around your waist here, because the compartment is separated right here and here. You're kind of having one compartment here and another here. The only thing I have noticed is that because the phone doesn't bend to the shape of your waist, like the round waist, it does feel like it's sitting a bit awkwardly when you put it in the front pockets. But at the same time, I like to put my soft flask at the back, because my soft flask is a bit longer than the phone. It's kind of a give and take. You kind of have to sacrifice one and put it at the front. But I wouldn't say it's a huge issue, and it hasn't really annoyed me too much. Alright, so with both these belts, the one downside is it is pretty awkward to put on and off when you're out. So I like to do it like at home rather than outside. When you put it on, it does actually ride up the shorts a bit, and your shorts kind of reveal most of your leg. But I guess if you're wearing 2-inch shorts, it's not going to make any difference. So shout out to Hugo, who loves 2-inch shorts. Anyway, I'll show you how you have to take it off. There's no other way to do it. So you have to be careful here as well to make sure that the shorts don't come off with the belt. So I'm trying to be conscious of that. It does take a little bit of care to not make yourself look like a clown, you know? To give you some exact values, the Naked Band weighs in at 65 grams, whereas the Salomon belt weighs in at 45 grams. So in regards to sizing, the Naked belt is a bit more extensive with 12 different sizes on offer, with all the sizing guides written on the website. The Salomon belt, on the other hand, comes in 5 different sizes. We got extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. Usually I would wear the belt under the shirt because it looks a bit better. It's just like covered underneath. But for the demonstration purposes for this video, I'm gonna have it out. Doesn't matter, there's no actual right or wrong way to do it. I think it just looks a bit cleaner when it's a bit hidden under the shirt. If you're packing the belt a lot, it does look like you have like a bit of a belly, but there's nothing wrong with that. Out of the 2 belts, I would say the Salomon becomes more compressed when rolled up. Now this might not mean much to you, but who knows, for some people they might just want the more compact version and thinner material. So I've already noticed one thing that's pretty significant, and I'll be honest, the Salomon belt bounces a little bit more when you have a soft flask of 500 mils in it. And to be fair, 500 mils of water is quite heavy. It's half a kilogram of weight. I think because the Salomon belt is a tiny bit more stretchy, it does have that little bit more of a bounce aspect, whereas the naked belt kind of holds the belt perfectly and doesn't feel like it's bouncing at all. This is the S-Lab belt. There's actually a ton of different belts. I think there's the Sense Pro, the Advanced Skin, and a ton of others, but this is their premium, most expensive one. What I expect for a premium belt is I want it to be lightweight, which it definitely is. It's way lighter than the naked belt. It is smooth on the touch, but I also don't want it to bounce. So I think this is where Salomon need to work a little bit on improving the belt's like integrity and structure so that it doesn't bounce as much. We've noticed that this soft flask causes the belt to bounce a fair amount, especially when it's at the back. So when it's like this, it will bounce a fair amount and it's noticeable. I think when you bring it to the front, it's a bit less noticeable, but it's still there. I think the naked band would always feel pretty comfortable with no bounce, which I definitely do enjoy a bit better. But that goes to show that it depends on what you're bringing onto the run. I have done an 80k race with two 500ml soft flasks in the naked belt already, so I know how well it works. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with like the structure, the minimal bounce that you get when you have the naked belt with flask. But that being said, not everyone runs with a flask that's this big, and I don't think it'll be as big of an issue if you're not carrying a whole 500ml bottle in your belt. One upside to the Salomon belt though is that it feels lighter and smoother on the touch. This feels slightly more coarse, but it's not too bad. I wouldn't say it's a downside. I just think the Salomon belt is just really premium and thin and smooth on the touch kind of feeling. I will say that both of these dry very quickly. I actually don't recommend you put it in the washing machine because it will damage the materials. I highly recommend you just hand wash it with a little bit of soap as well. One other thing to note with this belt is that there's this clip right here, and you can put your keys on it, you can put your collapsible cup, because a lot of races are going quite eco-friendly nowadays and you gotta have like this sort of cup. Although I will say the location of this clip is in a pretty annoying place when you're going like that. You will touch it a bit, but you can kind of shift it across a little bit to stop that from happening, or you can shift it to behind. The way the naked band works is it has a pocket on the front on the right side, the front on the left side, and then one at the back as well. You could theoretically fit 3 soft flasks in it. I only put it at the back usually, because that's the part where it's like straight. Here, the pockets are on a bit of a diagonal, so I prefer to put stuff like phones, even the Insta360, or even stuff like onigiris, like food. But yeah, I put a bunch of everything in it, and it holds a lot of stuff. It's actually super impressive how much you can fit in it. I obviously have my other Salomon belt in it as well, and on the way here, I had that again in the pocket too, so you can fit quite a lot in it. If you're doing like a long race, totally fine carrying all the mandatory gear for that. I will say though that the naked belt has a more obvious pull tab. The Salomon belt on the other hand has a smaller pull tab, but you can still see it. I do wish that they made this in a black color so that it's more obvious where it is. Because of how small it is kind of hard to identify where that is sometimes. You can see the difference in the 2 pull tabs right here. This compartment right here with the zipper is actually handy because one, I feel safe putting importing stuff like keys and credit cards and whatnot in here because I know it won't come out. And also it feels more secure in here because when I put my phone in here, there's no bounce whatsoever. But at the same time, I've also tried putting this in the back compartment instead of the soft flask, and it doesn't bounce as well. So when you put a phone, it's fine. I think it's when you put really heavy stuff like this, that's when it feels like it bounces a bit more. The other feature that I like about this belt is the small compartment on the sides of the belt. So this would actually be a good place for your gel wrappers and whatnot, you know, stashing small items. I actually put this action camera that we're recording with right now on the side when I'm running as well, and it seems to sit there perfectly, and it's the perfect size for that. So the naked band, we all know it has huge pockets, so there's no like little pockets like that, and I find that the variety is kind of nice sometimes. Now both of these belts come with pole holding features, and this one has a silicone elastic band on the back side of the belt where you can hold your poles in, whereas the Salomon S belt has elastic loops that you can attach manually, which come with the belt. When I first bought the belt, the elastic loops were inside here, and there is the option to attach them, and there's tutorials on YouTube on how to do that, but it's more of a manual thing and you only have to put it on if you do use poles. Now I will say right now that I'm not a pole user. I don't have poles and I don't really intend on using it anytime soon, so that's an area that I'm not familiar with, and therefore if you want more advice specifically to that, I would recommend you liaise with someone that has the belt and also uses poles. Another thing I really enjoy about the Salomon belt is the color of it. So the fact that it comes in a red color, obviously it has a black color as well, but the red color specifically has a black interior with a red outer layer, and that makes it easier visually to just look down and see if you're looking inside the pocket or somewhere else. So when you're in a running setting where you don't want to be paying attention too much to small details, it's nice to just immediately be able to see if you're looking inside or not. The naked band only comes in a black color, so I'm always trying to work out which mesh I'm trying to pull on to put stuff in and whatnot, and it gets a bit fiddly sometimes. And the final thing I'll talk about regarding the two belts right now is that as long as there's no soft flask with 500 mils of water, I feel like they both don't bounce at all, and it's actually very, very nice to have that. Most of the time, if I'm going out for an hour's run or something like that, I'm not going to bring 500 mils of water, so the bounce in the Salomon belt would only become an issue when I'm running long distance. But usually when I'm running long distance, I have a pack anyway, just like this, where you can put the soft flask here, and that fits a bit nicer than putting it in a belt. So I don't see the bouncing with the soft flask being a huge issue, but it is nice to have that as an option as well. So if Salomon are watching and they're trying to take in my considerations in the future, I would love if you can make a belt that doesn't bounce as much when you put a soft flask in it. That's my feedback. But yeah, when you don't have it, they're both perfectly good. And yeah, I highly rate both belts. There's a time and place for both. So to give you a bit of a conclusion, I like this belt for when I'm not carrying a 500ml soft flask. And the reason for this is because it bounces when you put it in the pocket. And that's the back pocket here that I'm referring to. But apart from that, if you're just carrying your phone, wallet, keys, and maybe a light compact jacket or something for after the run if you're hanging out, then this is actually a really perfect belt. It's very compact, you don't feel like you're wearing anything, and the variety of pockets is really, really enjoyable for me to use. This, on the other hand, especially with the race bib holding option as well, this is more targeted towards your long races where you can supplement this with the pack that you're already wearing. So you could have 2 500ml flasks on your vest, and on top of that you could have 3 extra 500ml soft flasks in this belt if you wanted to. So you can really increase the carrying capacity of water with this belt. But that being said, I still like using this for day-to-day use as well, because again, depending on the context, I might want 3 identical pockets, or I might want the variety of pockets depending on what I'm carrying that day. So I definitely see a time and place for both, and I love both belts. I'm so happy to have both. Thank you again for watching another video on my channel, and also a huge thank you to Stuart, Kevin and John for helping me purchase this, because I have a buy me a coffee link in the description. They have pretty much funded this entire belt, therefore this review is dedicated to them. Thank you so much. It's a great belt and I've been enjoying using it. Can't wait to take it on more runs and show you guys, more ins and outs of this belt. Now for those of you that want to contribute to my next comparison video or review video or something like that, feel free to donate anything from $5 in the buy me a coffee link in the description. And if you just write review in the notes, I'll definitely shout out you in the next review video that I make where I purchase a product to review it. Let me know which 2 products you want me to compare next, whether that would be shoes or any other product. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.